Good morning, good morning, good morning. This is episode 70 of the 476 podcast. We're going to talk about the Detroit Pistons game and also a little bit about the Celtics game from the other night. So stay tuned.
Yeah. Justice for the blind, just something that'll find in the rhymes that are coming from my mind.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. Welcome to episode 71 of the 476 podcast. You know what it is already. We're going to talk about some Sixers. Probably going to have another episode come out after this where we're going to take a little break from the Sixers and look at a first quarter of the NBA season, kind of take a spin around the NBA, look where everyone is. But before we do that, let's talk Sixers. So obviously we just beat the Pistons yesterday. Saturday. I'm recording this on Sunday, so you'll hear this Monday. So we beat them 2 days ago. Gonna act like that's real. We beat them 2 days ago. I didn't do, Pistons was Friday night. Celtics Friday night, Pistons Saturday night. So, listen, let's start with Joe. I'm not gonna jump too much into the Celtics game. I guess I could take a little dive in there. Listen, over the 2 days, we're going to put two of these games together is what we're going to do. The Celtics, I want to say this because I know a lot of people probably are going to think, but they didn't have Jason Tatum. It would have been different. And it's true. I'm not going to say that's not accurate, but I want people to understand that in the NBA, and you see this happening with the Nets right now. If you had Tatum into the lineup, somebody else has to score less, right? So Jalen's not going to go for 35, 40. Marcus Smart's not going to finish for 20. Kemba takes a small step back. Guys take a small step back to give Tatum shots. You know what I mean? To give Tatum shots, these guys got to take a small step back. That's always how it's going to be in the NBA. There's only one basketball, and because of that, guys take steps back. So I think we would still beat them regardless because of the reasons we're winning. The reasons we were beating them was not necessarily because of our defense being super extreme, even though Ben's back, over the last 5 quarters, he's back. But it's because Joe is forcing guys into foul trouble early. If you're going to cheat down and try to double him with your perimeter guys, there's a chance they're going to foul. I mean, he's figured it out. Joe's figured it out. So you can add Tatum. I still think we would win the game. Obviously, and the reason why I think that too, one of the other reasons I think that is because the way Toby's playing right now, again, his catch and shoot right now is a Hall of Fame. Quick release, Hall of Fame, all of it. You know what I mean? Just catching and shoot, not thinking, catch and shoot. I can't even believe how quickly he catches and shoots right now. I mean, it's fucking impressive. You know what I mean? He just catch and rise, doesn't even think. And it's money. And that is really difficult to defend. When you're in transition, guys are essentially just automatically running to the other rim and then going out from there. Well, with Ben in transition, yeah, you have to be worried that Ben's going to go to the basket right now, not the first 50 quarters of the season, but these last 5 quarters, you have to be worried that he wants to be aggressive and go to the rim, and that means that Toby's going to have open three-pointers the whole time. So if Toby's shooting this way, it's not like Tatum can do a whole lot to stop him from scoring. When Toby tries to take Tatum or Jalen one-on-one, it's going to always end in failure. It's going to end in tragedy. You know what I mean? It's always going to – it's like Fargo, which I've started watching and just has tragedy, episodes ending in tragedy constantly. You know what I mean? Which is fantastic. Watch Fargo. It's fantastic. Anyway, so essentially Toby trying to take Jalen or Jason one-on-one, it's like the Red Wedding. You know what I mean? Game of Thrones, Red Wedding. Ends in tragedy, right? It's going to end in tragedy. But when he's catching and shooting, it's like I don't know. I can't think of a positive moment in Game of Thrones. The end of the show for sure is not a positive moment, so I can't go with that one. Anyway, that's not the point. It's going to end in tragedy otherwise. When he's catching and shooting, when he's attacking off the catch, he is very, very difficult to guard. Everyone in the NBA is difficult to guard. What's making Toby really good right now is that it's his most efficient catching off. You know, a lot of people want to attack off the catch and don't. The people who do attack off the catch maybe are not as maybe are not as efficient as Toby is right now. I mean, it seems like when he attacks off the catch, I would love to see those numbers. I don't know if Synergy has that, which is like how quickly somebody scores as soon as they catch the ball and what that efficiency is for them. Toby has to be through the roof because that's him at his best. So I don't know that Tatum makes it that much of a difference. Obviously it makes it different. It makes it different. It makes it more difficult. I still think we can beat them with Tatum. Seth comes out. So either way, over the last 2 games, Joe is just dominant. You know what I mean? He is just dominant. We have never seen Joe play this well on back-to-backs. I'll be honest with you. We just never see it. We're not used to this. And in fact, after the Celtics game, it said he had a back tightness, which probably comes through in his free throw shooting yesterday, 12 for 17, which is low for him. I thought for sure he wasn't going to play. I was almost positive he wasn't going to play yesterday. Which I was just getting revved up to see if anyone else is going to fucking step up when Joe doesn't play. But it didn't matter. He played on a back-to-back, which was happy on the road. And Joe's dominant. He is the MVP of the NBA. Him and Joker are throwing haymakers at each other. Joker yesterday goes into double overtime against the Suns, albeit without Devin Booker playing, and finishes with 29 and 22 rebounds. You know what I mean? If I had any nitpick against Joe, it's that he is not a better. You know what? It's not that he is a good rebounder. It's that he does. I guess he doesn't chase rebounds. Maybe that's a good thing. He's just not an aggressive rebounder. Yesterday he showed there was a couple plays, 2 or 3 plays where we were taking what I would consider bad shots. You know what I mean? It really didn't make a whole lot of sense. And Joe cleans it up by grabbing the offensive rebound. There's the one big 3-pointer that Toby hits in the 4th quarter. That's off of a Joe offensive rebound. There's the one early in transition pass to Danny Green, who can't shoot on the road. And I keep saying that he's unable to shoot on the road. And Joe hustles down. Just not used to seeing it. Joe hustles down. You know what I mean? It's a fast break. Joe sprints down and grabs the offensive rebound, saves the possession. Joe just is having a ton of those plays. He is identifying what we need when we need it, and he's filling that gap. You know what I mean? And it's just he is the MVP. You know what I mean? He's the MVP. Joker has crazy numbers. I mean, Joe has crazy numbers too, to be clear. I mean, he's hovering around a 50-90, a 50-40-90 right now as a center, which is, I think Dirk has only done it once, and he wasn't a center. He's a power forward, but he's 7-footer. I think Dirk is the only big man to do that 50-40-90 as a big. You know what I mean? And Joe's not at 90. He's at 85% free throw shooting. But 40% free throw, 40% three-pointer, and 55% field goal. This is his best shooting season so far in his career. And defensively, he's just a menace. Yes, he's just a menace right now. You know what I mean? I mean, it's funny watching this. And you know what? Let's go to Ben real quick. Let's go to Ben. Because what I'm noticing about Ben, and this is something that Joe can't do. Joe's body won't allow him, I think, and this is like, I'm kind of joking, but not really. His body won't allow him to go 100 miles per hour 100% of the time, like Russell Westbrook, for example, right? He can't have that that motor. You know what I mean? His body just won't allow him. His body will fall apart if he does that, and it's true. And Ben, what I realized watching the 4th quarter of the Celtics game, because let's be clear. That the first 3 quarters of that game, it was like, what the fuck? Ben, please help us. Help us. Are you alive, Ben? Are you alive today? He was playing okay defense, but I find it hard to say. It's hard to say that you're being this lockdown defender when Kemba is getting wide open 3-pointers off of screens. I mean, Kemba just attacking off a screen is impossible to stop, and then Jalen is going ballistic. Are you going to stop Jalen? Are you going to stop any of these guys? And then in the 4th quarter, he woke up, and I remembered I had flashbacks to last year's Ben at the end of at the end of the regular season before COVID shut everything down. And I remembered what it was. The word popped into my head: urgency. Ben he was not playing with urgency for the first however many games. I forgot how many games. What are we, 11-5 right now? So the first 15 games, he wasn't playing with urgency. You know what I mean? And now, urgency. That's what happened in the fourth quarter. We're giving back the lead, and Ben all of a sudden, and you see it. He starts like shaking. It's like he was just in a car accident. He starts shaking and shit, and his face gets like he's like he sniffed the rawest line of whatever, and he just decided that he was no longer. We are not going to lose the game. That's the Ben that we need. And what I realized that Ben, he is all motor. He has talent. It's not to say that he doesn't have talent, but his motor is what gives him everything. He needs to be approaching games like Westbrook does, right? Just motor on 100 going. You're not going to get every opportunity, Ben, if the game goes through Joe, but you need to fill up the rest. Fill up the rest. Don't let Toby create. Don't let Seth create, even though they can. And even though we will want them in spots, you create. You go to the rim. You press the issue. When we need a bucket, we go to Joe. Every other time, press the issue. And that's what happened in the fourth quarter against the Celtics. He took over down the stretch, and we needed it because I wanted to hate on Ben in the Celtics game. The first three quarters, I was ready to shit on him. I promise you. I was ready to shit on him. The fourth quarter, they pull that lead within 5, and Ben takes over. He scores, 11 points, I think, in the final 5 minutes. He had 4 points the first three quarters. And I know, listen, I'm not fucking stupid. Zoo and Lala, listen, bro. I know basketball. I understand how basketball works. I understand that Ben fills gaps. I understand it's not just about scoring. I get it. I do. I completely understand the concept of that. You know what I mean? I get it. The problem is Ben is our quote unquote second best player. Okay. What does that mean? That comes with a certain thing, especially when you were about to trade him for James, which again, I still stand by probably would not have been the right decision. There are probably other better fits. When all those little things don't amount to points all the time. Because if Danny can, again, like I've been saying here on this podcast, Ben requires, right now, the way Ben was playing prior to the Celtics game, he is completely reliant on everyone else knocking down buckets. You can create all this offense and hit open guys, but if they're not making buckets, what is your value right now? What's your value if you can't score? At a certain level, you can play defense. They can game plan you out, as we saw the Celtics do, because he wasn't stopping Jalen. Jalen was going ballistic. At a certain point, someone needs to score. And if they're going to double, triple, quadruple team Joe every single time down, one, it's exhausting. Someone else needs to score. So if everyone else isn't scoring and you're our second best player, then what are you going to do now? What do you have to offer? You're going to fucking grab a rebound and sprint to the other side and just finish it. Finish it. Take it to the rim. Go to the free throw line. Finish it. That's what we need you to do. You can do all the little things, but we need you to score too sometimes. We need it. We need it. We need it. If we want to be the best team in the NBA. If you want to be the second best team on the title team where Joe is the MVP, you're going to need to score. And he did that against the Celtics. Fourth quarter, he did it. Yesterday was his best game of the season. And it's kind of embarrassing to say that 18 points was his season, or 20 points is his season high. His season high was at 18. You know what I mean? He hit his season high at 18, or he surpassed it at 18, I think. That was his season high. And now 20 is his season. That's fucking embarrassing. You're a second best player? There is none. Other than like Rudy Gobert. And I'm sorry, I am not of the ilk that is a huge Rudy Gobert fan. Why? Because you're the defensive player of the year, supposedly, but if I put Joe there or if I put Joker there, they're going to bake you. Well, how can you be the defensive player of the year? When Kawhi, when Draymond, when those guys were defensive players of the year, that meant that the basketball could not come near them. Do not pass the ball in their vicinity. They're going to steal it. And if the guy they're guarding even gets the basketball, that's going to be a negative result. It's going to be bad. It's not going to be good. That's them at their best. That is what a defensive player of the year is. You know what I mean? That is what a defensive player of the year. Giannis last year, not like Giannis this year, Giannis last year. If you catch the ball, you're not going to score on them. Ben last year, towards the end of the year, and then over the last few games, if you catch the ball around him, it's not going to go good for you. It is not going to go well. What I just said about Tatum and Jalen, when Toby tries to score him, it's going to end in tragedy. So how can you be the defensive player of the year when you play Joe, you play Joker, you're getting baked? Anyway, that's not the point. That's not the point. So if you're going to be the second best player on the team, you're going to have to score. In my opinion, you're going to have to score some. Do all the little things too, but you're going to have to score. Ultimately, the Spurs were never going to beat the Heat until Kawhi started scoring 30 a game. You can play all the great defense. You can try to. You're as a great defender, you want to lower the efficiency of the player you're guarding when you're guarding guys like LeBron, right? You're never going to stop LeBron from scoring, but you can lower his efficiency. But he's still going to get his 30. And where are you going to get points from now when they need a basket? You're going to have to score. They didn't win until he started scoring 30 a game, and then they blew him out the fucking water. That's what it's going to come down to. So, Ben, you're going to have to score. Yesterday, I think this is the split that we should expect to see. You know what I mean? Obviously, Seth is not going to go 0 for 3 from 3, like very often. You know what I mean? So Seth finishing around 15 to 17, Toby 17 to 20, Danny 7 to 12 or something, 7 to 10. Joe up to 30, Ben 20. That's the split I want to see. That's the split I want to see. This is Ben, 29 and 7. Yeah, that's Ben. 3 steals, 1 block. That's the Ben Simmons I expect to play every single fucking night. That is what I want to see. We're coming off a back-to-back. We look fucking tired. We look sluggish. And Ben says no. And Ben doesn't look sluggish. That's Ben Simmons. That's him. That's the guy who you don't trade for James Harden. Don't sit here and tell me last week that was a guy that you were going to trade, that you were not going to trade for. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it, Zumov and Allah. I don't want to hear it. I know how basketball works. He wasn't playing defense like he played over the last 5 quarters. You know what I mean? Over the last 2 weeks, you saw him ramping up. But over the first 2 weeks, no, he wasn't playing good defense. He was okay. And also, with the propaganda, listen, Toby's playing good defense. But don't point to Toby locking up Grant Williams as a Scottie Pippen defensive moment. Grant Williams is Grant Williams. Grant Williams is Grant. He's Grant Williams, homie. He's Grant. His name is Grant. There's only been one good Grant in the history of basketball. It's Grant Hill. Horace Grant is okay. Him and his brother, they were okay. But then there's Grant Hill. That's it. And then you got Grant Will. He's later in the alphabet. And you think he's going to be good? No. Don't point to that. Or Toby yesterday. Who did Toby lock up yesterday? Who did he lock up? Dumboya. I think he locked up Dumboya. It's Dumboya. I like Dumboya. I do. But come on. Relax, guys. Relax. He's playing good defense. But him locking up trash players isn't really a lot of guys. I've seen James Harden lock up trash players too. But we know that the grand scheme of things, he doesn't play defense. Anyway, this is the Ben that's gonna help us be the best team in the NBA. This is the Ben. Ben, this is what I want to see. Hopefully you can stay healthy. That's what worried me last year. And I said that a bunch of times. I think people probably heard me say that, maybe thought I was joking, but I really wasn't. If you being first team all defense, defensive player of the year candidate causes your body to break down, that's scary. You know what I mean? Obviously, there's nothing you can do about that. I'm not saying that in a way to demean Ben in any way, but that's a shame. You know what I mean? Because in order for Ben to be truly effective, he's going to have to be going 100 miles per hour. He's going to have to be going 100 miles per hour. You know what I mean? The other thing we're seeing here, too, which is fantastic, is Toby, Joe, and Ben have, again, you're going to hear me forever and a day talk about, what's the word? Continuity. This is why the Jazz is one of the best basketball teams in the NBA. And fuck you, Shaq. Real quick, just a side note. Shaq, fuck you. What was that? that you did with Donovan. What was that? You know what? I'm gonna tell you what that was. They call that hate. That's just you being a hater. You've become a lame. That asking Donovan that question for what reason? What was the point of that? After so let me get this straight. He blows. I forgot who they beat. They blow somebody out. He scores 35, has like 35 and 6 assists. And the first thing that you can think of is, I don't think you're good enough. I personally don't think that you're that good, or whatever the dumbass comment was you made. Why? I don't think you make free throws, Shaq. I think you choke under pressure. Suck a dick. Why don't you come into shape, Shaq? How about that? Why don't you come into the season in shape? You want to make a rap album, but you want to come in fat. Fuck you. How about that? Make a free throw, cross-eyed bitch. I'm sorry. That's too much. That's what I would have said to him if I was Donovan. I would have told him to cut the interview if I was Donovan, honestly, because especially at my age now, I have no filter. I just no longer have a filter. And yeah, just cut the interview off, because I'm about to say things that are offensive. You know what I mean? Cut the interview off. Either take me off of the Zoom or go to commercial, because I'm finna roast this motherfucker right here. Fuck him. Just don't make sense. Just didn't make sense. Anyway, continuity. These guys, Toby, Ben, and Joe, have hit continuity. It's so important. Remember, Toby, since we traded for Toby, we've had Joe out for extended time. We've had Ben out for extended time. Toby's missed games here and there. I don't know how many games they've played together. I need to look that up, but they've probably just hit 180 games, 175, something like that. I don't know. Probably something like that. Maybe. No, probably not even. No, there's no way. There's no way. No, there's no way. But maybe like 180 games, probably. Something like that. I don't know. No. There's no way. I'm lying. I'm lying my ass all the way off. Just over 100 games, probably. Wow. What am I thinking? They probably just hit over 100 games. You know what I mean? This triumvirate is relatively young. You know, Toby, Doc knows how Toby works, obviously, and he has gotten into Toby's head. Toby, stop thinking, just go. Just catch it and shoot it. Catch it, shoot it, or catch it and pass it. You know what I mean? And then you can have sprinkled in, coming off of screens. If you have a mismatch, you can, try to expose it, but don't do too much. Stop doing so much. And Toby, it's hit Toby in the head, and he's finally doing what we need him to do. Seth, listen, Seth's defense, man, too. Seth's defense is making me. He had he had 2 steals. He finished with 2 steals yesterday, but there was 1 steal in the fourth quarter that I'm thinking of, where Ben, what happened? I'm not sure if I can't remember exactly who this happened against. Ben was guarding somebody, and they spun on Ben, and Ben reached, and Seth came. I don't know where the fuck Seth came from, honestly. Just dove in, and before he went to the rim, poked the ball out. It went out of bounds. It wasn't a steal. It went out of bounds. And it was their ball, but I just don't know where Seth came from. And I thought it was just a high defensive IQ play. Seth has a chip on his shoulder, which you need. You need that. When you're building the title team, you need the guy who has the fuck you. Fuck you. I don't belong here, so fuck you, because I am here. You know what I mean? Every team needs that guy. You got the prestige of a superstar with Joel. You have guys playing defense. We got Joe and Ben, right? The prestige of the not the prestige, but what's the I can't remember what the word I'm trying to think of. 2 first, top lottery picks. Then you got the Toby, the scorer, the catch and shoot, can spread the floor. Isn't necessarily one of the best players, but can fill up points, can get you points. And then you got the fuck you guy. You know what I mean? And that's Seth. Seth is the fuck you guy. Seth is the guy who goes up to Paul George and say, "You cheated on my wife, I'll beat your bitch ass." And Paul George be confused with his stupid hairline. Seth is the fuck you guy. We need that. Our bench didn't really play that well. You know what I mean? Furkan shot pretty good yesterday. Shake was in a game where we're not getting a whole lot from our bench. Our superstars took care of us, and that's Ben and Joe. You know what I mean? So, Ben, keep this up. This is the Ben I expect to see on a daily basis. We play the Pistons again. But this is the Ben I want to see. This is what I want to see. You know what I mean? Listen, guys like Danny. I mean, Seth has become super dependable, so I'm not even going to hate on Danny. But Danny's shot doesn't travel. It's clear. He just doesn't travel. Oh, yeah, and Ben's free throws. Listen, you can tell how aggressive Ben's being. He finished with 12 free throws. That's not a career high because there was that one game where he finished with 20 free throws because they were hack-a-shacking him. But if Ben's going to finish with 12 free throws, we're good. You're not going to go 10 for 12. I mean, that's incredible that you went 10 for 12. But I did mention at the beginning of the season, the first month of the season, Ben is always a terrible free throw shooter. And then he starts warming as the season starts going on and gearing up, he becomes, I guess, I don't know, he warms up or whatever you want to call it. He becomes a better free throw shooter after that. But this is Ben at his best. You know what I mean? This is what I want to see from Ben going forward. Ben, please keep this up. Seth, I love your control. I love what you bring to the court. Seth, never leave us. Please stay here forever. We love you. Danny's defense is making me really happy, honestly. I mean, Danny makes decisions that are kind of crazy, but Danny does a couple things every once or twice a game. I mean, Danny only finished with 2 rebounds yesterday, and I feel like those 2 rebounds were big rebounds. You know what I mean? It was just like big fucking rebounds that Danny just somehow came down with. Matisse and Dwight are the dumbest. I've never seen people make stupider fouls. They are the stupid fucking foul brothers. Just dumb fucking fouls all game. We are not going to go far. We're not going to go far enough if you're going to be fouling like idiots. Stop. Matisse, if you're going to get 5 fouls in 15 minutes and not be able to score, you are now a negative. Okay, you're a net negative, like all the time. I know you finished minus 14. Their bench was busting our ass, which apparently their bench scores a lot of points. I didn't know that until yesterday. But Matisse, bro, you know, this is celebratory. We won what? I don't know how many straight games we won, but we beat the Celtics twice in a row, and now we're about to beat the Pistons twice in a row. I'm locking it the fuck in. But Matisse, bro, I hate being critical of these guys because truthfully, I'm a big fan of Matisse the person. You know, and I've talked about this with Toby. Big fan of these guys as people. But as basketball players, it's concerning. You know what I mean? As basketball players, it's concerning. You know, so I don't know, Matisse. I don't know what it's going to take for you, brother. I don't know. I don't know who we could trade for. You know, could we trade for PJ Tucker and bring him off the bench? I'd love to do something like that. Matisse, we trade Matisse and a couple picks or a pick for PJ. I would do that. Yeah. Oh, well, Mike Scott. What happened to Mike Scott? Is he dead? I just thought about that. Also, Terrence Ferguson might take Matisse's place. I can see that too. It's not that Ferguson is great, but he's a solid defender and he can score. You know, Matisse can't score. And it's scary. And Matisse fouls a lot. It's just stupid fucking fouls. A foul to give, 20 seconds down, 20 seconds 20 seconds left with a foul to give and you foul in a stupid fucking foul. And on the broadcast, they said, I mean, he didn't do it on purpose. Yeah, of course he didn't do it on purpose. We know that. No idiot's going to foul with that. But the play that got the foul call is an obvious foul. It's going to be called, man. It's going to get called. Don't do that foul, okay? So I don't know. I don't know what to say about Matisse other than I want to tell you to keep shooting, but I also don't want to tell you to keep shooting because it's scary. You know what I mean? Ultimately, that's all I got. You know what I mean? I think that's where we're going to end here. If we play the Pistons again, and I think we're going to beat them. I feel relatively good about that. I don't feel good about Matisse. I feel great about Toby. Ben, please stay this way. Ben, if you're going to play this way, we're on our way to the finals. I promise you. Everyone else, stay safe out there. Wash your hands. Wear a mask. You know the drill. Black Lives Matter. Right? Arrest the cops who killed Breonna Taylor. Fuck Donald Trump. Thank God Joe Biden. Biden might forgive some of our student debt. That would be fantastic. I'm sorry. Went off topic there. Expect more podcasts to come out. We're going to talk about Marvel. I might talk about QAnon. I might not. It depends how much I want to depress myself. We're going to talk about Marvel. We're going to talk about the NBA. And we'll see you on the flip.
Justice for the blind, just something that'll find in the rhymes that are coming from my mind. Used to come